I don't think so. Okay. Good. What is it? It's afternoon now, isn't it? No, it's not afternoon. It's still morning. Um, Everyone, I want to thank you for making the time today to do an organizational meeting that we usually do in person um, at the beginning of every year. I'm sorry, really sorry that we cannot be in person. I miss seeing each and every one of you, and I was very hopeful that we would be able to do something different, and maybe we will. There seems to be some good news about this particular strand of the virus kind of beginning to fade away in some of the major cities. So hopefully that impacts us positively. And I want to thank everybody for all the hard work that you did through the interim. This committee was very active, and as always, and many of you worked very hard this interim on behalf of your constituents in the entire state of Maryland. We have a couple of changes that I'd like to mention. One, I can't see the full screen. I hope she's here. Delegate Stephanie Smith. Good, thank you. I can't see everybody, but welcome to the Appropriations Committee. Delegate Smith is going to be assigned to the Education and Economic Development Subcommittee and to the Pension Subcommittee. And we're really, really excited to welcome her to the best committee in Annapolis. And in another kind of life in the legislature, Delegate Smith is my chairman of the city delegation. And I will tell you that she has done not just a good job, an awesome job in the city as city delegation chair. And I really do expect that she will make a major contribution to this committee. We also want to congratulate Delegate Tony Bridges on being named the chair of the Public Safety and Administration Subcommittee. We're pleased that Tony came over a few years ago from ENT, and he's been a terrific member of this committee. We're going to be, very busy this session. I know you're all reading the newspaper about how much money we have. I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later, but it is true that we have kind of an historic level of general fund surplus this year that will provide us some opportunities despite COVID, but it also provides us, I think, temptations to go in a wrong direction. So we're going to try to make sure that the House and the Senate follow our lead on this committee in figuring out what to do and how to really construct a budget that lays the groundwork, not for this, just for this year, but for our future. Speaker Jones' leadership, we have collaborated with the administration to provide relief to Marylanders. Once again this session, I hope that we can work with the governor and with the Senate to determine how we spend this historic surplus and one-time cash. The Spending Affordability Committee, chaired by our own Delegate Mark Corman, made a number of really good recommendations that I expect will be the framework for this committee's work on the overall budget. But I do think we will have many conversations about how we should not only spend the money, but lay the framework for the future. Last year, I had a bill about placing standards and expectations of transparency in the budget process. And we may consider that bill or something similar to it this session. The committee is also going to look how the constitutional amendment to change our budgeting process and how that will move forward with next year with what I call guardrails as needed. So I am going to be introducing a bill that will set up the framework for how you as legislators who are returning will be able to shape the budget with much more authority than you've had in the past. Other issues that I think we're going to look at this year, implementing the federal infrastructure bill. I've asked, of course, Delegate Corman to take a lead in this. Protecting our state workers. There's been a lot mentioned in the newspaper recently about worker shortages. We want to make sure, in particular, where there are dangers that are created with shortages, that we try to help correct those. Monitoring the implementation of the blueprint and Built to Learn. Two things I'll say on that very quickly. One, if we do what is right with the budget this year, there is enough money, it's a sufficient amount of money to pay for the entire blueprint for its entire lifespan. Right now, as you know, we left here with enough money to pay for it through FY27. As we sit here today, the blueprint is paid for. We can make decisions to spend money hog wild, not to be conservative, and create a situation where we will once again face having to raise taxes or other revenues to pay for the blueprint. I'd rather leave here having a secure sense that we have paid for it rather than facing raising revenues in the future. Investing in behavioral health resources and responding to our agencies and local governments' continuing need for the pandemic response. I think this is still very, very important. And I didn't mention, I mentioned, but I didn't comment on the Built to Learn Act. I look at that act as really having been authored by this committee. And so I think we should take incredible pride in overseeing the implementation of that. One of the issues facing all of our counties now who are trying to tap into the Built to Learn Act is the cost of materials and supplies in construction. So I hope that we use some of the money that we now have available to us to shore up the Built to Learn Act and make sure that these projects will move forward, even with the cost of materials going up. That simply means I hope that we can add more money to our school construction program. To help each of you get up to speed, you should have received a link to the issue papers for 2022 legislative session from DLS. This document, as well as other session briefings this year, will help prepare you for the work ahead. I am now and always, as you know, prepared to dive into these issues and our normal activities of hearing and analyzing over the next over 120 agency budgets and hundreds of bills. We couldn't complete all of this work, though, without DLS, Department of Legislative Services, which is why I've asked Ryan, Vicki, and David to the committee today. And we're very, very pleased to have all of you here and have all of you back. Vicki's the executive director of the Department of Legislative Services. Ryan is the director of Office of Policy Analyst, and David is our fiscal coordinator for OPA. We've been working very closely with David on several of the issues that I just described, including the guardrails bill over future fiscal control of the budget by the legislature. So, Vicki, you want to say anything? I'll give you a minute or two.
Can I ask a question about something you said in your opening?
Yeah, sure.
You said that Kerwin was completely paid for.
The blueprint.
Is that for this year or extended out?
With the current surplus, budget surplus, it is paid for through, I believe, the end of its ramp up period, 10 years. Is Michelle on?
That's okay. I just want, we had a meeting in Howard County about what had to be done by the county to be in compliance. And I didn't know if you've had any contact with any of the counties, but it was a bit overwhelming. And Howard is one of the wealthier counties. So I just wondered if we would have any conversation about that or knowledge as to how that's going to impact the counties.
Yeah, I mean, the counties were very involved in the blueprint process, the Kerwin Commission and the blueprint process, and are very aware of how much will have to be funded through their local efforts. I mean, some counties stayed about the same. Some counties might have even gone down a little bit. The two counties, as I recall, again, Michelle can correct me, that were most impacted because they have the most concentration of poverty, therefore have to make the most effort to match state efforts as Baltimore City and Prince George's County. So yes, we have been talking with the local governments all along this process. And it is, for some counties, a bit of a stretch, but we're hoping, particularly in these times when students are needing so much catch up due to learning loss, we're hoping that these investments are made. Now, Vicki.
Thanks, Madam Chair and members of the committee. It's nice to see you all virtually, as the chair said. I hope one day, not in the too distant future, we can see you all in person. But as you know, we are the nonpartisan soup to nuts organization for the Maryland General Assembly. But particularly in your roles on this committee, our staff helps support you with the highest level of analysis of the budget that assists you in your decision-making process. And you'll hear a little bit more about that from Ryan and Dave shortly. But I would just like to say, the beginning of this week, I talked to first the pages, then interns, then the new staff members of the General Assembly. And I said to all of them, and I would like to convey to all of you that, we don't stand on formality at the department. Please reach out for any reason to me directly, to Ryan, to Dave, for anything. Have your staff reach out. We just want to assist you in this process. We are a customer service organization, and we're very happy you are our clients, and we will do whatever we can to help make your decision-making process and your roles as legislators successful. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ryan.
Thank you, Vicki. Good morning, everyone. I'll just echo everything that Vicki said. We in the Office of Policy Analysis are always ready to help assist you, whether it be budget related or other issues that you may have or questions that you may have policy or legal related. So our doors are always open, virtual and otherwise. If you have those questions, and we're always happy to help. We hope you have a really safe and healthy session, you and your families as well, in this continued difficult time. With that, I'll turn it over to David Romans, who is our budget and fiscal coordinator. And I know we also have Rebecca Ruff and Tanya Zimmerman, our operating budget managers, on the line, and Matt Klein, our capital budget manager, on the line as well. So happy second day and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you. David?
Thank you. We look forward to working with you all and supporting you through the budget process. It should be a different and interesting year. Certainly, we'll really get getting kicked off a week from Monday, the 24th, with the fiscal briefing, which will give you some sort of overview of the governor's budget and get things started. Just wanted to mention a couple of things. Our capital budget coordinator, as Ryan mentioned, is once again Matthew Klein. Maybe he'll wave to everybody. On the operating budget, Rebecca Ruff is back again. Rebecca started as operating budget manager just as the pandemic arrived. She's had an interesting couple of years as manager, but she's sticking with us. As some of you may know, Simon Powell has retired as of January 1. While Simon is not replaceable, we are very fortunate that Tanya Zimmerman, who's been working as the BRFA coordinator in the Health and Human Services Subcommittee, has seen a lot of Tanya over the years, has stepped up and taking a share of the operating budget management with Rebecca. And I think you'll find she'll be a fabulous support to the committee. That's really all I had to say, Madam Chair. Happy to answer questions.
Okay. Okay, any questions? All right, thank you. I want to go through very quickly, just so everybody is aware that we're actually thrilled to have all of our staff back from last year. As a matter of fact, some of them multiple years. Everybody should have received yesterday a sheet or an email showing what committees you're on and the committee assignments. Remember that the chair and vice chair are both voting members of each subcommittee. And I do want to take a minute just to thank our vice chair, Chang, because he last year made it around to all of the committees and was really instrumental in helping me guide and the subcommittee chairs guide us through what was a very historic situation that we faced last year. The good news is Michelle Lambert's back for her third session with the appropriation and second session as our senior counsel to the committee. Welcome back. She is going to be involved with the capital budget as well as the education and economic development subcommittee, and she keeps all of our trains moving on schedule. Ken Weaver is back for our second session with the committee. Ken staffs two subcommittees, transportation and environment and public safety and administration. June Chung is back also for the second session. She staffs three subcommittees, health and social services, personnel, and pensions. So welcome back. Really could not get the work done during the year without these really three important staff people. In addition to those three, we have Helen Wilson, who is back for her, are you ready? 22nd session as committee secretary. That's right, to the Appropriations Committee. So welcome back to Helen. And Cherie Wareheim is here for her 9th session as subcommittee coordinator. Dana Phillips is back for her 3rd session with appropriations. Dana will keep all the functions of the committee running effectively. And we also welcome Jeannie Ferretti for the 7th session. I would like to, if you'd like to see me, just check with Dana or Jeannie, but remember, my office door is open all the time. I would also like to welcome back, I think he's on, Matt Jackson, for his 2nd year being assigned to our committee from the Speaker's office, as this year is his 1st year as Deputy Chief of Staff to the Speaker. So he got a little promotion during the interim, and we're obviously sad to see Alex go on, but she's, I'm sure, going on to a great next chapter in her life. Couple of other details that I want to just go into. I don't want to keep you too long, but in your packets and posted online, please take time to review these documents, Appropriations Committee website documents. A number of important details for you, your staff, and public on how the committee will operate during the session. Again, I'm sorry that we're going to be operating on Zoom for most of the session. A couple of things that I do want to point out are the committee guidelines. One, the importance of attendance. I must say, and I must compliment this committee, we have always had extraordinary attendance. And as you know, all these meetings now are going to be put up on YouTube, and all of our voting sessions are public. So I expect all members, when you're on camera, to be as you would if you were in person, dressed appropriately, appropriate backgrounds, etc. Hearing procedures. Like last session, all committee briefings, bill hearings, and the committee subcommittees will be voted on. Budget hearings will in public on virtual. Budget hearings will be virtual, but they will be separate from the Senate. Last year we did more togetherness with the Senate. This year it's going to be separate. So we're back to doing our own budget hearings. Every on-time bill will receive a hearing by this committee, and bills passed the House last year. And if a bill doesn't have significant changes, testimony will be limited. So it will be just as we did last year, that if a bill is reintroduced, it has no substantive changes, we will just send it directly to subcommittee and voting. Witnesses are able to sign up on the MGA website. You can look through all of that. It's again going to be as it was last year. And witness testimony submitted for bill hearings will be available on the floor system. If you have an amendment that you want done and drafted for consideration, it will be, if there is an amendment for consideration, it will be emailed you. And again, I think this is just the way we did it last year. For it to be considered by the committee, an amendment needs to be emailed to the committee and appropriate committee analyst. For example, an amendment to the transportation bill, and the committee needs to be emailed to Ken and Dana or Cherie. So as we move along and are into our subcommittee work, just follow the kind of practices we set up last year about emailing the amendments back and forth or receiving emails for consideration. And, June, Ken or Michelle will help you along the way. I'm going to move, the hearings just as I did last year, try to move them quickly and have ample time for the lead sponsor, but limit 2 minutes to testimony to everybody. And that is absolutely at the discretion of the chair. I want to remind everybody, and again, compliment this committee. We treat all members of the public and those who come before us with a great deal of respect. No cross-examination. For you who are attorneys, this isn't the courtroom. No speeches, only questions. And, when you've had your number of questions that you've asked, I might ask you to have your last best question for the day. Raise the hand function, so you might have to reacquaint yourself to that function. But raise your hand and we will try to, again, move our committees along and our hearings along very smoothly. Voting. All sessions of the committee and subcommittee, again, are live, so voting sessions will be live. We do try to get to you 2 days in advance of a voting session the list of bills that are going to be voted on. We try. It will take 12 votes to get a bill passed or amended out of the committee, no matter the number of people who are present. All voting will be a favorable motion. Members must have their camera on for voting. And all votes are final, yes, no, or pass. The only time we reconsider a bill or an amendment is if the chair believes that there is sufficient new information that has come to light that would warrant a revote. Staff will draft chair and subcommittee chair amendments. Other members should contact the amendment office to get your amendments done. Second reader rule is one that I asked the committee to follow. That means simply a second reader on the floor supporting the committee and this committee's work. And then, of course, on third reader, for each and every one of you, you vote your conscience. The subcommittee chairs and oversight committees chairs will generally take the bills to the floor. We will have, I think, probably a very high level amount of floor work this year. with the major bills going through being the budget and the capital budget. This session, the committee will take a vote as our first voting session to waive the rules that bills must be reported to the floor no less than 3 days after the committee vote. You remember we had to do that last year because what we're going to do is every committee is going to be voting out bills. It may be 2 weeks or 3 weeks before there's enough bills that we start doing regular hearings on the floor. So we will have that motion again for the floor. For the first voting session. The committee room is open to you. The offices are open to you. And I think even Cherie, are we going to do a few snacks here and there?
I might be able to work something out.
Yeah, that's right. So just know, again, if you need to see me, check in with Dana or Jeannie, or just walk by. Session schedule. I think you have another packet of information that you will find the committee's early session schedule and general schedule for most of the session. Please share this with your staff so that it gets on your personal calendars. We're going to jump right into committee bill hearings on next Tuesday and a number of early session briefings over the next 2 weeks. So look at that schedule. Subcommittees generally hold budget hearings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. The capital subcommittee will be on Wednesday at 4, and we'll meet for bill hearings on Tuesdays. We will vote on Fridays or do full committee budget hearings, but we have a full schedule all ready for you over the next few weeks, including bill hearings. So check those schedules. And any questions, you can call Dana or Michelle about the schedule.
Can I ask a question now?
Yes, sure.
Thank you. When we do vote on bills, what happens to how does it get transmitted? How do I find it and see who voted for what? Because sometimes mine look like I voted wrong, but I'd like to check on them in a timely fashion. I don't know the process.
All right.
Chairman McIntosh.
Yes.
If you want to go over votes, you can always, give me a call, shoot me a text right after that vote session, and I can get you that information.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Chairman McIntosh, okay, I wanted to say one quick thing. Hi,
Sure.
everyone. I'm excited to be back. I just wanted to really quickly introduce our clerk for this year. Her name is Frances Dale. She just graduated from the University of Maryland recently. We're excited to have her. And as always, if you guys ever need anything, please don't hesitate to shoot me a text or give me a call. We're gonna be able to meet with your staff later on tomorrow at 11, where we're gonna go over everything in detail with them again. But if you guys ever have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
That's good. Any other questions, by the way, from members?
Delegate Henson has a question.
Who?
Delegate Henson has a question.
Delegate Henson, how are you?
I'm well, Madam Chair. Thank you. Will Bond Bill Saturday be reintroduced this session or not just yet?
I don't think so. Is it? We haven't.
No,
heard that. No.
there's no LBI Saturday this year.
Nah.
Health and safety.
Yep. Any other questions? I think by and large, we're going to run a lot like, it's going to look a lot like last session. Hopefully, though, towards the spring, we can see a little bit more of each other, not only on the floor, but in the committee room. So, this is my last year, as you know, so I'd like to hold that, gavel in my hand one last time and try not to throw it at Metzger, okay? All right, no more questions. Metzger doesn't even respond. We're going to be meeting again as a
I'll
full
take it.
committee.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, right. We're going to be meeting again January 18th at 1 for bill hearings. I think that's the next time we meet. And also, I think Dana just mentioned something really important. Please remind your staff that there's going to be an organizational meeting for them tomorrow at 11. And this meeting will provide your staff and valuable information about our committee schedule and the budget process. And so, I hope that you will remind them. I also, this has reminded me of one last thing before we close. This year, because we have so many new members to the House side, I am going to be doing one of those little lunchtime gatherings with new members where I walk through the state budget process and the capital budget process, as well as the general fund process. So if any of you want to join in on those, I will let you know when those will occur. With that, I just want to say thank you. This is going to be a good year. It's going to be a great year. And I know everybody's looking forward to getting this 90 days done so you can go out and hit the pavement and get yourself reelected or elected to some new office, or if you're lucky enough to be like me, put your feet up instead of putting them down on the ground. So anyway, thank you so much. Okay. Love you all.
Looking forward to it, Madam Chair.
I'm looking